When you're dealing with a known criminal,
or multiple prior convictions,
luck is never on your side.
dealing cocaine as well as weapons possession,
You might say the chips are stacked against you.
I would definitely not approach him.
That's why U.S. Marshals say don't chance it with 35-year-old Adrian Williams.
When you're doing these kind of activities, you're showing a blatant disregard for not only the victims, but innocent bystanders.
Agents say Williams is on parole, released from prison after playing the drug game.
ACE.
On the street, he's known as Ace.
The drug and gun violence has become kind of an epidemic in the city of Milwaukee.
But just last week, Williams may have upped the ante.
He was allegedly involved in 3 shooting incidents in one day.
Agents say somebody shot up not one, but 2 cars with people inside. Then bullets ripped through a home. And Ace is their chief suspect. Agents say he was going after a woman and her family.
A woman who he had some involvement with, whether that was a girlfriend or some other relationship. No deaths, but I believe a few people were hit by gunfire, yes.
U.S. Marshals say Adrian Williams has been playing the odds for too long,
He's allegedly a member of the Black Gangster Disciples.
and his luck is about to run out.
I would clearly assume him to be armed at all times just based on his behavior in the last week.
Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News. There's nothing wrong with running an honest business.
Yeah, he's got a criminal history that goes back to about 2000.
But U.S. Marshals say 30-year-old Marquis Carpenter hasn't been above board for a long time.
Arrest for sexual assault, distribution of narcotics, weapons offenses, battery, you kind of name it.
Back in 2012, the Milwaukee man was sent to state prison for his involvement in a shooting.
Released in 2015, and since then has allegedly been involved in a lot of criminal activity.
Marquis Carpenter's career in crime has varied, but since getting out of jail, marshals say he's focused on the drug trade.
Being under investigation for importing narcotics from other states into the Milwaukee area.
Carpenter isn't just a drug pusher.
We believe it's high-grade marijuana.
Investigators say he may be managing a citywide drug operation, bringing drugs in and overseeing their distribution.
During the course of the investigation, they attempted to place him under arrest, and Mr. Carpenter fled at a high rate of speed in a vehicle.
Marshals say Carpenter is a dangerous man,
Believed to carry firearms at all times.
a risk to anyone he comes in contact with.
Additionally, he's been involved in numerous domestic violence incidences since his release.
When a man's trade is to cause chaos, marshals step in for a forced retirement.
Considered a dangerous person.
Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News. For anyone looking for romance,
assault, battery, weapons violations, robbery,
you should know
entries dating back to when he was 13 years old.
U.S. Marshals are looking for him too.
A gentleman by the name of Romance X Gun.
That's right. 22-year-old Romance X Gun, and you could probably guess what he's wanted for, but first, here's the setup.
Was a bright, sunny July day on July 17th of this year.
And a couple of guys were playing dice in Sherman Park.
The victim in this circumstance apparently was having good luck, won a total of $10 for his efforts.
And apparently that was a little too rich for Romance, and he pulled out a gun.
A semi-automatic pistol, took the money from the individual, and the victim was then shot in the leg.
The victim would survive, and Mr. Gunn would take off before police arrived.
You know, individuals like Mr. Gunn is certainly not being a benefit to our society.
Agents say Mr. Gunn is a well-known name around the Sherman Park neighborhood.
I think more than anything, the community especially wants peace and tranquility in the Sherman Park area.
But when a guy has an unhealthy relationship with guns and is roaming free, it's hard to feel at ease even in a city park.
It certainly adds to the unrest and the uneasiness of the good citizens of Milwaukee that live in that area.
Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News. The backstory of a dangerous man may very well foreshadow a tragic future.
He has quite an extensive criminal history.
His dark past is still haunting the family, praying for a resolution.
There's some concern with the victim's family right now that he may be stalking them.
Agents say 36-year-old George Savage sexually abused a child in 2013.
He is a registered sex offender, yes.
He served a year and a half in prison.
He was also sentenced to 2 years of GPS monitoring.
On May 5th, Savage was a no-show at a parole office, but marshals say he may have left a parting gift.
Probation agents found his GPS monitoring device in the bushes at the probation office.
Agents say if Savage is willing to cut off his ankle bracelet, he's probably capable of something much worse. In fact, his criminal history paints that picture.
Recklessly endangering safety. He's had weapons offenses. He has had battery charges. He has had false imprisonment charges.
And now he may be harassing the family of the child he assaulted several years ago.
There are some allegations that the mother of the victim in this incident has been receiving hang-up type phone calls. Appears to be somebody on the phone listening.
A man who truly lives up to his name needs to be taken in before he casts his next victim. Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News. The final moments of a young woman's life
She reached out to him via text.
exist in a criminal complaint prepared by police.
Do not try to stop him on your own.
Text messages between a couple planning to meet up and get high.
At that time, he stated that he did purchase the heroin.
U.S. Marshals say on November 4, 2014, Mitchell DeLapa met his girlfriend, Calissa Krause, in a gas station parking lot. They had been texting most of the night.
He injected himself and Krause with the heroin.
And that's when agents say the couple drove away separately, but Krause never made it home. Her car was found parked near a Brookfield restaurant.
Seated inside of her car, unconscious, not breathing.
21-year-old Calissa Krause was pronounced brain dead by EMTs. The investigation quickly focused on her boyfriend.
Friends of DeLapa and friends of Krause, they stated that Krause would never inject herself because she was afraid.
Adding up gas station security video, statements from friends, and a string of text messages, 28-year-old Mitchell DeLapa was charged with first-degree reckless homicide. He's been on the run ever since.
But to receive messages from a person that's in distress.
But agents say the most disturbing thing about this case is how DeLapa responded when his dying girlfriend called him for help.
And his response was, call 911.
Marshals say DeLapa could have helped save his girlfriend's life, but looked the other way.
That's ridiculous. This person doesn't have any care for himself or the people that he likes or he loves.
His final words sealing both their fates. Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News. A life on the run is a lonely place.
He's probably living in a hole somewhere.
It's a dark corner Jordan Kony finds himself in after years of breaking the law.
Been arrested off and on for the past decade.
The rap sheet of 32-year-old Jordan Kony is no quick read as his convictions keep stacking up.
Yeah, I mean, he has a 17-page criminal history. He is a convicted felon.
Marshals say last October, the Milwaukee Police Department executed a search warrant of Jordan's North Side home.
And found drugs as well as several firearms in the residence which belonged to Jordan.
It wasn't long before the DA added more charges to this chronically criminal.
2 counts for felon in possession of firearm and 1 count for felony drug offense as well.
But a man who's had plenty of run-ins with police is ghosting. Marshals say he's likely laying low in Milwaukee. Agents say it's kind of hard, though, for Kony to blend into a crowd
Jordan is 6'1", he's 250 pounds. He does have tattoos. Lower left arm, he does have R.I.P. Bertha and R.I.P. Cassie.
Marshals say Kony has been out far too long and it's time to bring him in.
He has to constantly, cover his tracks everywhere he goes.
Because the longer he's on the street, the more desperate he'll become. Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News. Innocence is lost
It doesn't do anything for the community or the quality of life.
when violence arrives to a place where children play.
They were shaken quite a bit by this. They were traumatized by it.
An attack can start a chain reaction, sparking only fear. Which is why U.S. Marshals want the men who staged a cruel act on a young couple.
As it was reported, we're in the park sitting on a bench.
Agents say last October, 3 men, including 2 brothers, Alexander and Andrew Crawford, demanded money from their victims.
A hard object was placed in the back of the victim. That victim felt that there was a firearm being placed against their body.
It happened at Liberty Heights Park in West Allen. But something more sets this crime apart.
They are twin brothers. They're not identical twin brothers.
18-year-old Alexander and Andrew Crawford have been together since the very beginning.
This makes the case a little more interesting that they were both committing the crime at the same time.
The twin brothers have been charged with armed robbery.
Andrew is a little bit heavier set.
And if you need help telling them apart, Alexander makes that pretty easy.
Large rose mural tattoo across his neck.
In the summer weather, Alexander should stand out from anyone, including his twin.
And our best leads, we believe, is going to be from our viewers.
2 brothers working together
If you're sitting in a park trying to relax
to commit the same crime.
and somebody comes up behind you and you believe a gun is placed in your back,
Agents say it's time to give the park back to the people by taking these troubled men off the street. Jonathon Gregg, Fox 6 News.